Welcome to Tech Career Podcast. Creating valuable and relevant content to encourage, motivate, and empower you to achieve your career goals. Are you a creative person? Do you enjoy simplifying tech and talking about the value it brings to organizations and people? Do you welcome challenges and enjoy learning every day? If this is you, a career in tech marketing may be just what you need. Join us as we explore a career in tech marketing with today's special guest, Goerge Wagner. Goerge is the Director of Product and Technical Marketing for Liquid. His career in information technology began in IT administration before transforming into sales engineering and ultimately product marketing. Hello, Goerge. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Christian. Thanks for having me.
We were just chatting here off air about tech marketing, and it's something very interesting because there are two different, areas within this field that sometimes can get a little bit confusing, right? But
Right.
before we even get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who's Goerge?
All right. Well, yeah. So I'm just a guy. So I do tech marketing. I live here in Colorado, near Boulder, Colorado. I've been in product marketing and tech marketing for about 14 years now. Prior to that, I was a sales engineer. I've done some product management and a few other things. I'm a father of two, about to be an empty nester. So things are about to change for me there, but definitely consider myself a geek and a kind of a creative person, which makes me a perfect fit for product marketing and tech marketing.
I love it. I love it. Oh man, so you're gonna be by yourself there at home now, huh? Without kids.
Yeah, and my wife and I are gonna have to start finding some hobbies.
Yeah, exactly, right. Yeah, I have actually a 14-year-old girl and a 9-year-old boy, so myself. So, not quite there yet, but
Yeah,
man, I can't imagine. Time just
it'll be an
flies.
adjustment. Yeah.
So as we were talking about, tech marketing, you mentioned that there's another area as well within this
Mhm.
field. So before we even get into, how to get a job and such in this field, why don't you
Mhm.
help us define what's tech marketing?
Sure. So I think there's really two fields within marketing, this kind of realm of what we call product marketing, and so I'll kind of define it as product marketing first, and then I'll break it into technical marketing. So product marketing within the organization, especially a technical organization like you and I have been worked together in the past, actually, and currently it really is a job that intersects um, development, engineering development, sales, and your traditional marketing organization. And the purpose of product marketing is to, create messaging and positioning around, as you mentioned during the introduction, value for a customer around a product. So why does a customer care? We talk about features a lot, like how fast something can go. Well, why does it matter to a customer? Why would they be interested in that? So a product marketer's job is to create that narrative, if you will, and also do things like product launches. So taking a product to launch or to market from its very inception all the way through launch, and then tracking what customers think about it, the messaging if it resonates, and whether or not you need to make some minor adjustments or even large adjustments. So that's part of it. And the reason why I kind of fit into that very well is because I was an IT guy before, so I kind of understand what I would like if I were in the customer's shoes. And I'm a bit creative as well. I'm a marketing major turned IT guy turned marketing guy, which is bizarre. The flip side of that is, how do we substantiate, the claims that we're making? For example, in storage, Christian, where you and I have both worked in the past, we talk about how fast storage can go, right? We can we can do so many transactions per second. You get so much throughput. Well, why does a customer care? Okay, well, where are you using your storage solutions? We talk about, we typically know it's databases, right? So that's one great use case. So how do we substantiate those to a customer? Well, that's where technical marketing comes in. Right? So with technical marketing, we have folks who are a little more on the technical spectrum of marketing, people who will still like to get in front of customers have conversations, maybe write content, but really understand the nuts and bolts of how a product works from a technical perspective, and can do things like do a stress test against a particular database and understand, where what kind of results a customer would actually see, and that might make it more relevant for them, more relevant information. So you can do testing, you can write papers, white papers. You can do things like architecture design. Those types of things are all part of the technical marketing realm.
So you have people that can be very, very technical working in these fields, but also people that are not as technical, right? So if we were to focus, let's try to maybe focus on a day in the life of a tech marketer and focus on these two scenarios for now. When you look at a person that has to be very technical, then they're a little more hands-on to be able to, I guess, learn and get comfortable with the product that they're going to be selling, right? And to be able to even talk about it and maybe even teach, right? And then help write. Do they help write the solution architecture diagrams, or do they do it themselves, or there's a
Great
combination
question.
of people?
Great question, Christian. So I like to think of it as there's a spectrum of technical marketing as well. So there's, your social kind of, you want to get in front of people and talk and evangelize. And then there's maybe on the other side, there's more technical. I kind of want to get my nose to the grindstone and really work it out, but I really don't want to get in front of people. And then somewhere in the middle, there's a balance. And sometimes you got guys who can do both or on both ends. So to answer your question directly, they are the ones who do the testing always. Now, whether or not they're the ones and write the papers, reference architectures, things like that. Now, whether or not they're comfortable enough to get in front of the customer or do a webinar, right? Be the subject matter expert in that regard is really up to them and what they're comfortable with. I will tell you, you become more marketable as a technical marketing engineer if you're able to get in front of people and have conversations and articulate, because you have a ton of value. One of the things about a technical marketer is, you have a salesperson and you have a sales engineer, which you are, right? You need someone who's kind of independent of you two to have a conversation with the customer where, you're the trusted advisor, which you are, right? But you need a teammate in there. And that's where you can bring in a technical marketing engineer to help you, Christian. And so if you're able to have a conversation with the customer about their challenges, it's just one more, arrow in your quiver as a salesperson to have. And so if you have, as I mentioned, if you have those characteristics or that ability as a tech marketer, you're even more valuable.
That's really important. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel that for those who are looking at career in technology, right, there are so many avenues, and during the show and during Tech Career podcast shows, we're going to be exploring different areas that you can go into. But this one in particular is around a manufacturer that is creating or developing either hardware or software or the combination of both. These organizations need teams that will go ahead and sell these products, essentially. And within the technical realm, there's a lot of opportunities for people to go into. So what George is referring to is those teams. Those teams are out there selling the products, right? Making sure that the people understand the value of the product that you're selling. Within this team, you have an account executive, which we're going to interview here in the future as well. But the account executive will basically have that relationship with a potential customer, right? There has to be a friendly person, right? A person that is not afraid to make friends, to make contacts and reach out to people and make those relationships. And then you have the technical person that is supporting that account executive, which is sometimes you'll hear terms such as sales engineer or solutions architect, right? Those are the technical folks that are also helping in that sales process. But now the tech marketing side, George, is something very interesting because they can also join those calls, right? They can also join that team and add a very, very great value to those conversations because he's outside of that team. Sometimes I feel customers can feel that, oh, these guys are just trying to sell me something, So when you bring a tech marketing person, I feel like it adds more value and like more trust, right? I mean,
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, no, they bring a lot of gravitas to the conversation. Like I said, they really seem like a neutral party. You know, they have nothing to gain from it, right? They want to ensure that the customer is buying exactly what they need, just like the salesperson and the SE. But for a customer, I think it helps to have that the other person as a kind of helping along in that journey. And so, you know, for you know the background, a lot of these guys, they can be customers. Like one of the guys we have here is a customer. Was previously a customer. We got another guy who's a dev guy, support guy. So you know, he can be a lot of people, but having that background and being able to talk to somebody is huge.
So, so now something that you mentioned that was very key for those who are looking at career in tech marketing, especially if you are a very technical person, you will become more marketable if you are able to have those conversations with the customer, right? Because when you're behind the desk, you know, just writing that's also powerful and needed. But I think, like you mentioned, the keyword is more marketable, right? Where people and organizations are looking for these particular skills. What are some of those particular skills that somebody should be working on or towards to become more marketable?
Yeah. So I think that the bare minimum to have, this is very important, but you have to have the technical acumen, right? To be able to learn quickly, pick up technical ideas, concepts very easily. Being able to kind of empathize with the customer, put yourself in their shoes. So that's part of it. And that's basically what you're doing in technical marketing. A lot of times, is you're doing a lot of testing, you're doing a lot of writing, you're trying to do some webinars, things like that. But if you really want to be marketable as a technical marketing engineer, you need to be, in my opinion, at least, to be kind of the best of the best. You need to try to be as outgoing as possible, social, be able to, really sell yourself, right, to the sales organization as a resource they can be leveraging. And I think that's really what separates, the good tech marketers from the great tech marketers.
Oh, that's
and it may
really
be
good.
uncomfortable for some people, right? I mean, I can get up here and have a conversation with you, but I'm kind of an extroverted introvert, right? So for me, I always get the butterflies, right? When I get in front of somebody and talk, I get a presentation or whatever, but I kind of use that fear as fuel. So everyone gets them, but I think if you can break through some of those challenges, and really those challenges in particular, and just do it, I think you'll find that you'll have more success.
A
more
couple of
opportunity.
a couple of points there. I think this is great because sometimes when you're working and you're doing something, you mentioned sell yourself, right? That right there is so important because sometimes you have teams that don't know they have resources at their disposal they can use to be successful themselves. But if we don't sell ourselves, we don't sell the value that we can bring to those teams, they'll never know about us, right? So I think from the tech marketing perspective, talking about if I was in tech marketing, right? Let's say I'm working in tech marketing, I'm creating this great content, I understand the product better than anybody else probably in the organization and the value that it can bring to customers, but I don't sell myself. I don't provide the services that I personally bring internally for the use of external use, right, for our customers, then our teams are not going to be able to use us and utilize us. But if we are able to do that, creating a brand, right, as a tech marketer within the organization that can add value to those teams, I think that will be very key as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Understanding that you are your own brand ambassador, right? You need to go out and sell yourself, sell what you're capable of doing, because if you don't, quite possibly no one else will, right?
That's true.
You can be recognized, but you need to be your own advocate.
That is so true. And the other thing you mentioned there, we all get those butterflies. I'm passionate about public speaking and I love being out there, right, and speaking, but we all get those butterflies in our tummies, because in reality, once you're out there, you don't know what's going to happen, right? And then you have a lot of people, could be a lot of more experts in the room, more expert than you, but you know what? That's not what's important. What's important is that you have something of value to give. And if you use that in your benefit, meaning when you're just yourself, right? I think that makes it for a more compelling story, right? Because people see you as a regular guy just trying to help, trying to add value. When you portray yourself as, oh, I'm the expert and I know everything, people tend to close up to that, you know. But if you're just, you know what, I'm here to learn, I'm still learning, I have information to give that could potentially give you value, but you know what, I still have a lot to learn, right? And that presents itself with that nervousness and those butterflies in our stomach that we sometimes we feel.
Be humble, be self-deprecating. People like that.
True.
They don't like people who try to be the smartest guy in the room. Let the customer be the smartest guy in the room. You don't have to be, right?
That is so true.
Yeah, I make fun of myself all the time, you know, and it makes me more comfortable. It makes other people more comfortable, you know, just kind of relaxes the situation in the room. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel that being in the pre-sales, on the sales side of the coin in technology, as you get more and more into it, you realize that it's all about relationships. It's all about creating that friendship with people. And the only way you're really going to achieve that is by being yourself. I mean, you're trying to be somebody else or something else and you're not. And people know that. People can see that and feel that.
Right.
Now, we're talking about the technical aspect of tech marketing and the people that are very technical. So how about if there's somebody that is not quite very technical, but they still want to get into tech marketing? Can they still get a job in tech marketing?
It's possible, but it may be a struggle. I'll be honest. I mean, I was in tech marketing for a while, and I'm a pretty technical person, but on the spectrum, I'm probably a little closer to the middle. Right? I was in IT. I did my stuff, but there are guys who are way more technical than me. And so if you think that you're, you know, to dip your toe in it and find out, you know, what the expectations are from an organization, if it's not for you, but you want to be close to the product and you still want to be, and you have some technical acumen, I would suggest pursuing product marketing, because you work hand in hand with technical marketing. You get to write papers, you get to do presentations, you get to drive the messaging. So if you're more creative, you can do product messaging, positioning, naming, talk to analysts. I mean, it's really a fun job. So yeah, it would be. What I hate to see someone do is get into it because they like the idea of tech marketing and then realize that it's either in over their head. Now you may get into it and realize you're really good at it and you're a lot more technical than you thought. I mean, so don't sell yourself short. If it's something you're passionate about doing, give it a shot. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So okay. So now this is opening the conversation even more. So tech marketing is more focused on those folks that are more technical, that are going to be perhaps giving demos and talking about the speeds and feeds of the product that they're selling, while product marketing is more on the messaging, on the go-to value, right? Go-to market messaging. How is that going to benefit me as an organization or me as an individual, the product that this company is selling? So the product marketing person then is going to be able to come up with those clever ideas on how I'm going to be able to talk about the value of the product without going too much into the weeds of the technical aspects, but more about the value, right?
Right. Yeah. And then you decide what your limitations are from a technical perspective, what you're comfortable talking about. And then if you're out of your depth, you bring in a technical marketing or you bring in a product manager, you know, either one of those two. For example, right now, we have a couple of guys who are doing technical marketing work in our company. And what I did was we're doing a new positioning exercise. We're doing some rebranding and kind of changing our message a little bit, because we're realizing that an updated message may resonate with customers. Part of that is understanding what kind of workloads that we should target our solution at, and one of them is database workloads. And so we've identified 3 database applications that we want to go after. And right now, one of the tech marketing guys is running like HammerDB against a MySQL database. He's getting results. He's comparing them. He's also running them with other products to kind of establish a baseline of comparison. And I just heard from my CEO this morning that we have enough data based on, he's an engineer, but based on, you know, his experience, we have enough data to write a paper, right? So this is where product marketing and tech marketing work together, right? There are certain things that these gentlemen are better at than I am. So they work on that. They hand over the results. We'd work together to put a paper together and get it out to salespeople, do some enablement, talk to the partners, get it in the customer's hands so they realize, the value we can bring by accelerating their databases.
And that is a great example of the two people there that, generally speaking, that come together and make that team, better, right? And
right.
So at this point, it seems to me that what kind of qualities would somebody be looking at, a hiring manager like yourself, be looking for somebody that want to get into product marketing now, right? That, again, it doesn't have to be as technical as a technical marketing specialist, but now a product marketing engineer, right? Or specialist. What kind of qualities and skills, abilities would you be looking for on the product marketing side?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, product marketing, it's always good to have some understanding of the field you're getting into a little bit, right? So, for me, looking at somebody, if they have experience as, let's say, they've been a user of a product that they want, or the type of product, right? So, in the case of, if you want to be product marketing for a skateboard manufacturer, just to be, to make it very general, you'd want someone who has either a lot of experience, writing boards or selling boards, or some kind of aficionado, or they worked at a company maybe doing support for it. So in our case, when I was brought into the product marketing organization, I was actually an SE. So I was a sales engineer. And then I would talk to the marketing guys a lot and say, hey, I think this message might resonate a little better based on the conversations I'm having with customers. And I'd work in the PowerPoint decks to make them a little better, or those types of things. And then one day the leader came over to me and said, hey, you ever think about just moving into product marketing? Yeah, I've never done it before. And they're like, oh, we can show you. You don't go to school for product marketing, right? There's not a product marketing school you go to. It's one of those things you learn. So, I mean, a lot of the folks who move into it have done other things prior to that, content marketing, or they were sales, or they were support, right? That's the great thing about it, is you don't have to be a product marketer or be classically trained in it in order to become one. You just need to be excited about helping people, excited about storytelling, coming up, understanding why customers care about a product, and then creating a message, a story that resonates with people, testing it, and then just, continuing that process. So it helps to be creative, though. If you're creative, if you're not creative at all, I would probably stick more to, the more technical side of technical marketing, or even product management, which is another conversation.
Oh, that's really good. And so,
yeah.
This is great because I feel that a lot of people sometimes are looking for just steady growth within their current field, what they're used to, they're comfortable with, right? And then sometimes they are willing to take on a challenge. I love what you said about, there's no real degree, right? Did you go to college and you graduate with product marketing, degree? It's something that you learn, but there are certain strengths and abilities and skills that you may learn by going to college, maybe on a computer science major, that could help you get a job in this field. Now, I'm a very creative person. As you can see, I love doing this kind of all this creative stuff, podcasts, videos and such. And thinking about, man, what if I was to be able to use my creativity and what I'm passionate about and get paid for it, right? I mean, because I enjoy this. I do it because I love it, right? So now imagine if you're the same way, right? If one of our listeners is the same way, where they love to be creative, maybe they do even graphics or videos or things like that, but also you like the technical side of things. Maybe you went to school for a technical degree, or maybe even for marketing degree, but now you're wanting to go into a technical area. Do you know the technical jobs are going to be available, and it's going to continue to grow, right? So going into an area like tech marketing or product marketing, in reality, for these creative people opens the doors for so many opportunities, right, in the field.
Absolutely. and there are other jobs as well. Like you could be, if you like to write, there's content marketers, right? You write blogs, right? You can help write papers with product marketing, do the website. We have a gentleman here who does. Well, we had a lady here who was doing social media type of things, right? So there's social media marketing. A gentleman who works for me does. He's a creative director for us, and so he creates videos. But because he has a technical background, understands it, he doesn't need a lot of hand holding. He just gets in and does it. Right? He knows what needs to be done. So that helps. The more you can be left to do your own work versus having to rely on others to help you out. You become more valuable, right? Because it's not a time suck.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, but
videos too, huh? So there's somebody that is
oh
just
yeah,
creating videos for an organization.
oh yeah. We have a person here who does videos. He does the website, all of that. So there's so many different things you could be doing. Not just technical marketing, which is very cool and exciting.
Yeah.
Product marketing is big. There's also product management, which really is the direct link between marketing and engineering. Yeah, there's a lot of different roles in there. And it's funny, you'll find what works for you. I started off in product marketing, and then I moved into technical marketing, and then I moved into product management, and then I moved back into product marketing again because I felt that was the best fit for me.
Wow. Wow. That's great. That's great. It's quite interesting because the purpose of this show, right, of Tech Career Podcast, is to be able to provide tools, resources, and add value to those who are looking for a career in technology. Perhaps you're just
Mm-hmm.
starting your career in technology, maybe in tech support, or you're a systems engineer, or whatever it is that you're doing in technology, or you just graduated college and you study something different than technology, but you want to get into the field of technology. The reason, the purpose for Tech Career Podcast is to be able to provide you with those potential opportunities, right? Possibilities. Sometimes we tend to be so focused on one area and we forget about all these other options that are available. Tech marketing, product marketing opens the opportunity for a lot of different people with different backgrounds that will be able to add value to these organizations in this area, right? And again, you don't have to be a technical resource. Now that we know, we don't have to be deeply technical to be able to add value in a product marketing area, for example, right? So you can still be in technology and still add value with your creativity and background and experience. Now, the other thing is, I have a friend that's thinking about when I worked in tech support, right? I was on a managed services organization, and one of my coworkers, he actually went to school for finance. He wanted to be, just a finance guy, but then
Mm-hmm.
started working on computers, and he really liked that. He joined the organization, and he's been very successful, in technology. And now he found a
Mm-hmm.
passion in technology, that it opens the opportunity for that, for
Yeah.
those kind of things.
Yeah, so did my brother. Did the exact same thing. Finance major, was doing 401k compliance, started writing his own queries. The guys who were in the database organization said, wow, why don't you, if you enjoy doing that, why don't you come over here and start working with us? And he's been doing that for probably 15, 20 years now.
Wow.
I'm a business major, marketing, did technical support was my first job out of college. And then went and worked for a company, learned more networking, became a Novell engineer. Then I got offered a job to run the IT shop for a company because I knew Novell and no one else did. And then from there, I became an SE, became a sales guy actually for a
Oh,
short period of
really?
time, which was tragic. But then you realize what works for you, right? That's just not
That's
me.
true.
And then I was an SE, and then I became a marketer, right? So I came by this a very unique way. But if you think about everything I did along the way, it prepared me for this job. So there's no job that's too small. When you look back on it, it's the relationships you've made. Make relationships, leverage those relationships, and be mindful of what you're learning because you'll find that it's what's going to take you to the next level.
That is true. That is true, and also about that relationship piece. I think is very important to network, right, with people. One thing that I realized very early in my career is that I had an idea of what I wanted to do when graduating college, and I always said, "Oh, I want to be a network, engineer." But honestly, I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what a network engineer did or what. It just sounded cool, I guess, that's what I thought was going to be a good career for me. And as I started looking into it, I was like, well, now that I know what it is, I kind of like it, but I don't know. I like more of a generalist type of thing. I like to understand the different pieces, be more strategic about, my approach. And so I think a key is to be able to talk to those people that are doing the job that you think you want, right? To be able to understand what is it they do. And I guess one of the greatest things to be able to do that is using LinkedIn, for example, right? Reach out, connect with people. There's a lot of great people that are willing to share their expertise, their thoughts, their ideas. What can you tell me about networking on LinkedIn about that, what I just shared with you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'll tell you that every job I've had since I got out of college was due to a relationship I had. It's how I got my foot in the door. Um, every single one of them. I've never, one job I did not, but ended up not being the best thing for me. It really helps to know people. And yeah, if you see someone who has a position that you think sounds really interesting on LinkedIn, talk to them. You think about all the ads you get on LinkedIn and all of the spam you get. Imagine if someone said, "Hey, I'm really curious how you got where you are." Right? What kind of, what do I need to be looking to do from a skills standpoint to prepare me to do something like what you're doing? Because that sounds very interesting. People love to talk about themselves. I mean, I'm on this call right now talking about myself quite a bit. So absolutely do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, along those lines now, what's a day like for let's talk about a tech marketing in particular for right now.
Yeah.
What does a normal day look like for a tech marketing person?
So a tech marketing person has a list of priorities that are probably driven by a sales organization that it has something that's probably rooted in a demand for a particular reference architecture or results, validations, so they can prove to the customer that a solution actually works as a good fit, something that we sell as a great fit for what they need to solve a problem. And so it could be things like creating, doing a validation around virtualization, right? How does virtualization work in a composable environment like what we have here? That's one of the things that we're working on right now. Virtual desktop infrastructure, for example. Another one is, we need to validate and compare performance numbers for databases, for example, which is something that's just on top of my mind right now because we're talking about it internally. So David, who works here, is actually running tests and then running the results by a team of people and engineering, right, other places to verify that what he's seeing is actually what he should be seeing. And then from there, next step is to how do we take this data and tell a story with it? What kind of story are we going to tell? What's the customer doing? What's the problem the customer's doing today, right? There's an acronym called SIPAB that we learned. I forgot the guy's last name. I think it was Miller, Skip Miller, I think is the guy's name. Anyway, he has this acronym, which is SIPAB. It's situation, challenge, implications, position. I forget something else and benefits. Anyway, what's the situation the customer's in? What's the challenge they're facing? Okay, so your situation is they're trying to accelerate transactions because the more transactions they get, the more revenue they get. What's the challenge? The challenge is the storage they have right now is too slow. What's the implication? They're losing revenue, right? So use those things to, let's tell a story, right? Create the hero story for the customer. And so that's the next thing that David and I are going to work on. Okay, let's create kind of an outline of how we want to tell the story around these results so that, the customer sees them and goes, okay, yeah, this really resonates with me. I see where this is going to solve a problem for me.
Oh, that's
it's
good.
It's just about the science of it. It's about taking that and packaging into something that's meaningful for the customer.
Yeah. Okay. So a tech marketing person will be a person that will be a day-to-day will be doing hands-on, doing some testing, some stress testing on the software or hardware that they're testing. Right. And then understand, okay, now let's look at the results. great. Now I understand the resort. We understand the technical aspects that go with that. Where there is, we did this test running this amount of VMs or whatnot, and just putting that reference architecture to understand how that's working, right? And then from there, after you get the results, then you start collaborating with your teammates internally to understand what is the story here? What are we trying to tell with this information? So it's not just numbers. We're trying to translate the highly complex technical data that we collected and try to translate it into something that is valuable to our customer by telling a story, right? And then you put that story together.
Technical marketing, right?
I love it.
If it's just technology, you'd be doing that for a different reason. Maybe it's development and you're creating a product. This is about, being able to validate and create, meaningful stories around the data customer needs in order to make a decision. And so you're helping the salespeople out. Ultimately, marketing works for sales.
Yeah.
And so it's enabling them with the tools they need to succeed.
That's fantastic. Now, are there any certifications or anything that will help somebody that's trying to get into this field? Whether it is certifications or classes that they can take specifically at colleges or outside, maybe there's Cloud Guru, there's all these other places where you can take classes. Is there anything that could help them build a nice resume for them to get a job in this field?
I've actually taken like pragmatic institutes or pragmatic marketing. I've done that before and it's fantastic, but I think it helps to have some years under your belt before you do that, because you're almost taking those courses with some experience. It helps to have that familiarity before you take those courses. I know there are some courses. I believe LinkedIn might actually have some courses you can take. It doesn't, like I said, I got into it because I was curious, right? I kept asking questions, and I had access, but that always helps, right? So I had access to the product marketer and the guy who ran product marketing, and by asking him questions and offering suggestions, ultimately I got him to ask me if I wanted to join the organization as kind of an entry level product marketing manager. But don't worry about getting prepared. I mean, you can read blogs, you can read all sorts of stuff, and you can learn the same thing from every single one of those. But if you're a storyteller, if you're passionate about solving customer problems, if you are creative, it does help to be creative in this field. That's the product marketing, and then technical marketing. It helps to have technical acumen. I've seen people from technical support move into those roles very nicely. I've had people move in who are actual hands-on customers who moved over into the manufacturing side and became tech marketing. Both of those are excellent places to start because both of them have customer experience, whether you're the customer or the person helping the customer. And we have a person who's moving over right now from an engineering role who wants to be more customer facing. Right, so they are an engineer today, but they want to be much more customer facing, so they want to move over to technical marketing.
I guess the beauty of this field is that it's broad enough that it will allow those who are trying to get into the tech side of things to get that first job, right, in tech. And for those that are more experienced, to even broaden their expertise and bring their passion with them, what there is around being creative, right, or around solving solutions or telling stories, right? And so I think there's a lot of those out there that maybe do a lot of things outside of work, right, for fun because they enjoy it, and then realize, I could actually add even more value to my organization if I could do this, right? So it doesn't hurt to maybe reach out to a tech marketing organization within your own company that you're working for or outside, and see if that's something that will fit even better, right? Where you can even better your abilities, your skill, your strengths.
Express an interest, right? I mean, if you get into a company with a product that you feel passionate about, that always matters too. If you don't like the product, then you may want to go find a place that has a solution you want to sell, because there's nothing worse than working in marketing for a product you don't care about. Right? So go work for some place that has a product you find interesting and you care about. And whether you're in support, whether you're an SE, whether you're doing anything in the organization, talk to the marketing organization, whether it's the product marketer or the CMO, and express your interest in learning more. right? I like to sit in on some of your meetings and kind of learn, what it is you do. It sounds very interesting. I've always been interested in learning about technical marketing. I would like to help you in maybe there's some way I can contribute to help you guys. And so the more you do those types of things, then they believe they see that you're adding value and you're really anxious to learn this type of stuff. That may open opportunities for kind of an entry level access into those types of careers.
That's really good. That's really good. And now when you talk about reaching out, how can people reach out to you? How can people connect with you and, maybe start chatting about these things?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to have conversations with people. You can find me on LinkedIn. I don't know my handle on LinkedIn. Maybe it's at Goerge Wagner 1 or something like that, but you'll find me. The picture just looks like my face.
There you go.
And I work at Liquid. So I'm the only Goerge Wagner at Liquid.
And you know what I'm going to do after the show? I'm going to go ahead and add this link, George's LinkedIn profile link, to the show page, the show notes page for this episode. And so everybody can have access to that and can reach out to you, Goerge.
Cool.
All right. Well, as we're closing out, any closing remarks that you would like to make, anything that you would like to share with the community?
Yeah, no, I would say, like I said a minute ago, if there's any chance you want to get into this type of a career, take this leap to this type of career, don't hesitate to try it. Right, you have nothing to lose, everything to gain, and if you love it, it'll be a gift. And they say if you love what you do, it's like you never work. That's not true. You always feel like you're working, but it makes it more tolerable. I love what I'm doing, and I'm very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and I hope you all find that for yourselves. But don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to answer any questions you have around this.
Thank you so much, George, for that. And again, thank you so much for joining us here at Tech Marketing. We always love chatting about, different careers, and I appreciate you making the time to speak with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christian. Take care.
Thank you. All right. So everybody, I invite you to come and join our website. Go to our website where you can find these and other shows as well. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our Twitter page as well. And now we're on Instagram as well. Now, this is the second show that we do with video. So bear with us as we try to figure out all the kinks and all the issues here that we may be having. I know there's some issues with the audio and syncing with the voice and with the video. So we're going to be working on that, and I promise you it's going to get better with time. But again, thank you so much for joining, everyone. I hope you can join us on the next episode here at Tech Career Podcast. Thank you for listening to Tech Career Podcast. Don't forget to check out our website for more information on how to connect with us by visiting www.techcareerpodcast.com. That's www.techcareerpodcast.com.